Under the dense fog that embraced a town forgotten by time, Mystery Inc. arrived at the abandoned cinema. Fred led the way confidently, while Daphne analyzed the shattered windows that shimmered with strange fragments. Velma, adjusting her glasses, noticed faded posters that seemed out of place. Among them, the final act stood out. Shaggy and Scooby hesitated, claiming the place reeked of danger, but they were eventually convinced to enter. A mystery awaited them, pulsing with an invisible energy that surrounded the building. The main auditorium was like a time capsule. Cobwebs adorned the seats, and the massive projection screen loomed intact, like a silent guardian. Daphne pointed to an old projector perched above, and then a sound echoed through the space. The film reel began to turn on its own. Velma dashed to the projection booth, but found no one there. Yet, the projector played a film none of them recognized, creating an atmosphere of unease. Shaggy and Scooby watched nervously, ready to bolt at the first sign of trouble. Fred and Daphne followed the sounds to a side room. There, they discovered an office filled with untouched film reels, as though time had frozen. Among the stacks, Velma uncovered an old diary. The entries spoke of a filmmaker obsessed with creating the perfect experience, but something had gone terribly wrong. Meanwhile, Shaggy and Scooby explored another area, only to stumble upon boxes labeled dangerous. Opening one, they unleashed shadows that began to move like living creatures escaping from the reels. Back in the main auditorium, the group heard a piercing scream. The ghostly figure of an elegant man appeared on the screen before stepping through it, emerging into the real world. Daphne screamed as Fred tried to remain calm. Velma shone a flashlight on the figure, but it did not vanish. The ghost pointed to the projector as though trying to reveal something. Fred instructed everyone to split up to investigate further as the atmosphere grew more ominous. The dark energy seemed to engulf the theater with every passing moment. Daphne discovered a hidden compartment in the projector containing an old map. It revealed secret passages connecting various parts of the cinema, including the basement. Velma deduced that the basement was where the filmmaker had conducted his experiments. Meanwhile, Shaggy and Scooby, in search of food, stumbled upon a storage room containing a mysterious camera emitting pulsating lights. The puzzle pieces began to fit together, but the danger felt closer than ever. Guided by the map, the group descended to the basement, where a sinister laboratory awaited them. Mirrors covered the walls, and film reels hung from the ceiling. At the center stood a strange machine, a mix of projector and camera. Velma theorized that the filmmaker had attempted to create films so realistic that the images came to life. Fred found controls for the machine, but before they could deactivate it, the ghost reappeared, now multiplied in the reflections of the mirrors around them. The basement plunged into darkness as the ghost multiplied in the mirrors. Fred instructed Scooby and Shaggy to create a distraction. Daphne discovered a hidden camera filming the room, suggesting that everything was part of an elaborate hoax. Velma worked to disable the machine's main controls. Amid the chaos, the ghost began to weaken, but the mystery was far from solved. Time seemed to be running out. Scooby, in the midst of the confusion, accidentally knocked over a pile of film reels, pressing a hidden button. A secret door opened, revealing a smaller room filled with old records. Inside, the group found an elderly man, nervous and shaken. He confessed to being the nephew of the original filmmaker, using the machines to create the ghostly figure and protect his uncle's inventions. His goal was to scare away intruders and prevent the theater's demolition, but his actions had spiraled out of control. Back in the main auditorium, Fred explained to the mayor how the filmmaker's technology had been used to create the apparitions. Velma suggested that the theater be restored to preserve its history and innovative machines instead of spreading fear. The mayor agreed, but something about the atmosphere still felt off. As the group prepared to leave, the mystery seemed unresolved. A silent tension hung in the air, Shaggy and Scooby finally relaxed, indulged in the snacks they had been promised. But as they ate, the cinema's lights flickered once more. A film reel began spinning on its own, projecting a new image on the screen. It was a scene from an unfamiliar movie, depicting events that had not yet occurred. The group stood in silence, staring at the screen as though we're trying to communicate something. The auditorium plunged back into mystery. Velma, intrigued, approached the projector, but it appeared to be turned off. Daphne noticed that the image on the screen depicted the group inside the cinema, as if they were part of the film. Fred attempted to shut off the screen, but nothing worked. Scooby, munching distractedly, pointed to the screen, where a shadowy figure loomed behind them. Everyone turned around, but no one was there. The suspense deepened, making it clear that something bigger was at play. Determined to uncover the truth, Fred suggested following the remaining passages on the map. Along the way, they discovered more evidence of the filmmaker's experiments, including notes mentioning characters who never leave the stage. Daphne grew suspicious that something more sinister was at work, while Velma searched for a logical explanation. The shadows on the walls seemed to follow their every move. At the end of one passage, they discovered another room with a larger, more complex machine. It appeared to be the source of the theater's eerie energy. Velma realized it was programmed to create endless stories, trapping anyone who entered. Fred located the control panel but hesitated to shut it down, unsure of the potential consequences. The group needed to decide their next move carefully. Daphne convinced Fred to act while Velma worked on disabling the system. Shaggy and Scooby accidentally activated another function on the machine, causing more shadowy figures to emerge. Combining their intelligence and courage, the group managed to shut down the machine, but not before facing its final manifestations. When the chaos finally subsided, the cinema screen went dark, but the silence still felt heavy with an undefinable presence. The group left the theater, though the sense of mystery lingered. As the city lights returned to normal, a shadow passed by the cinema's windows. The camera panned out, revealing that the once faded sign now displayed the message, "The show never ends." Scooby laughed nervously as Fred assured them they could handle any new case. The night might have ended, but the mystery remained alive.